Hello friend, are you a beginner in Terraria looking for some advice and life hacks? Well, you've come to the right place. This video explores 10 of the most frequent pitfalls beginners in Terraria tend to fall in, and I'll give you some advice and strategies to avoid them and also to improve your gameplay experience. I'm Zuzucorn and I aim to entertain, encourage and offer you a place to call home, so subscribe now and join the Zuzucorn family. Let's begin. Number 1. Making wood armor. When you spawn into Terraria for the first time and cut down a bunch of trees, most beginners tend to make some wood armor, since that's pretty much all they can make. This is a great thing actually, getting armor and defense, cause it's really helpful in the game. The thing is, there's actually armor that's better than wood that's available right away, and it isn't even that difficult to get. All you have to do is head a little bit to the left or right and find the desert biome. Then just chop up a bunch of cacti and make cactus armor instead. Cactus armor provides the exact same stats as the wood armor, but it also has the thorn set effect. This reflects damage and knocks enemies back when they come into contact with you, which is really great for giving you more time and space to react in the early game, especially since your weapons now barely have any range or impact. Furthermore, wood is actually pretty important for a bunch of things. I know it's easy to get more, but I still think it's better if you don't unnecessarily dump 75 wood into something that is clearly inferior or easily replaced. You can literally get cactus armor 20 seconds over to the side. Maybe the only benefit is if you want to sport that signature noob look. Number 2. Not putting walls in your houses or using platforms as floors. Lots of fresh beginners in Terraria build a house like this. They build a box using wood, add 2 doors, then a torch, and a table and chair. But when they check the validity of the house they built, they keep seeing, this room is missing a wall. This confuses a lot of new players in Terraria because they think walls are just the 4 sides of the box. But actually, you can also put walls in the background. There's an item you can craft for this, literally called walls. So just make a bunch of that, then place it into your house. And make sure you cover all the empty spaces. In a similar vein, some beginners like making their second floors out of platforms so that they can easily hop between rooms. That's a great idea actually, but then they face another problem. They see this is not valid housing. And this time, they know for sure that they filled in all the background walls. So, what gives? Well, the problem here lies in the platforms. NPCs need a couple blocks of consecutive free solid ground to stand on. So all you have to do is replace a couple of platforms with bricks and voila, that should solve the problem. If replacing a couple isn't enough, that might be due to some of your furniture that's occupying the space above the blocks, so just keep replacing until it works again. And there we go, beginner problem fixed. Now you know how to remedy your own builds. Speaking of building and walls though, the next point here is really handy. Number 3. Not making use of the smart cursor mechanic. Another mistake beginners tend to make is not to utilize the smart cursor or smart building mechanic. On PC, if you press the control key, that toggles smart cursor on, and this yellow box pops out. What smart cursor does is that it does the things that you want to do, but in a more convenient fashion. For example, remember what I said about filling every single wall space? Well, if you toggle Smart Cursor, all you need to do is hold down the place button, and Smart Cursor will systematically fill in all the walls for you. Nifty, eh? Another way to use this amazing function is when you want to build stairs. Normally, you have to place platforms in this diagonal fashion, then hammer them a couple of times to form stairs. But if you just toggle Smart Cursor on, all you have to do is aim the yellow box diagonally and click. This conveniently places stairs in the direction you want to automatically, so you don't have to go and hammer all those platforms. This makes building a lot less tedious, which may be a turn off for some new players. So yes, make sure you utilize the functions in the game to the fullest extent. That conveniently also brings me to my next point. Number 4. Not using the guide's crafting function. One big mistake that beginners make is to not use the guide to its fullest potential. I mean, I kinda get it. When you first spawn into the world, all you see is this weird guy who's just walking around. Well, this guy is the guide NPC, and if you talk to him and click this crafting button, it opens up a menu at the far left side of the screen. It is quite inconspicuous and easy to miss, so I don't blame you. But what this crafting function does is that it lets you see all the things you can make with a certain crafting material. Take wood for example. By placing wood into this little box, the guide will show you every single item in the game that takes wood to craft. This ranges from a whole plethora of decorations like dresses, torches and pianos to a bunch of weapons or tools like bows and pickaxes. This function is especially useful when you come across some strange monster drop that you've never seen before, which may actually end up being a rare item used to craft something special. So to be safe, make sure you throw everything new you find into the guide's crafting function just to see what you can make with it. It's also actually really fun when you see what piques your interest and then you work towards getting that in the near future. It also makes the game so much more engaging and rewarding because you get invested into making something. And hey, guess what? That's related to my next point once again. Number 5. Resource Management. Hoard everything. Like I said, you really don't want to find yourself having thrown away something when you need it later. One big example I can think of is the giant harpy feather. I've received so many comments from people who obtained this rare drop early on, only to throw it away without checking what it actually does. Well, if you didn't know, the giant harpy feather is a rare drop from harpies and can be used to craft the harpy wings, a pair of pretty decent wings for early hard mode. It has a 0.5% drop rate, so a 1 in 200 drop rate. And oh boy, I can imagine that it feels really bad to realize that you had this, but you threw it away by accident. So the moral of the story here is to hoard every single item you find, in addition to checking what the item is for using the guide's crafting function. Most of the time, you think that something you find is useless, and it probably is. But sometimes, they end up standing in between you and a consolidated accessory that houses all the functions that you actually want. The cell phone is a prime example of this. You may never want or need to know the moon phase, but if you want the shell phone, then you're going to need a sextant anyway. So yeah, just hoard everything. Number 6. Organize your chest from the get-go. To help you organize your hoard, good resource management skills are essential. Even from the very beginning, you want to bring back all the chests that you loot. I mean, who doesn't like free stuff, right? I then recommend that you have a dedicated chest area and then label and organize them into categories like blocks, monster drops, melee weapons, range weapons, magic weapons, and so on. It's also great to have an ore and mineral chest near your workstations so that you can craft from your anvil directly using the materials in the chest. Sorting through your stuff after each spelunking or adventuring session will be super easy thanks to the quick stack to nearby chest function. What this does is, if you have a chest with say gold ore nearby, clicking this button here will automatically sort all the gold ore in your inventory into the appropriate chest. This means that only your newly discovered stuff remains in your inventory and you can decide how you want to deal with it or sort it. As you discover and sort more and more items, all this administrative work becomes a breeze and your bountiful hoard will only continue and continue to grow. Number 7. Not using potions. Potions are a type of consumable that gives you a temporary buff. There are lots of different effects for you to choose from, ranging from combat specific ones to quality of life ones. Combat potions can make fights and invasions much easier to deal with, and can give you stats like increased health regen, increased movement speed, increased defense, and so on. For quality of life potions, they can make you glow in the dark, they can make you breathe underwater, they can make you fall slower, and even reveal all the ores and treasures in the walls. As you can see, potions are game changing, and they can really give a lot more flavor to your playthroughs. You can get a bunch of potions from exploration and in treasure chests, so make sure you check them out and use the appropriate ones when you feel like you need a boost. They're really handy and can make or break certain fights sometimes, especially for the really difficult fights where you need every little bit of help you can get. That brings me to my next point. Number 8. Not making an herb farm or a fishing spot. Speaking of potions, instead of relying on finding random ones in chests or pots, why not make your own? To make potions, you usually need some herbs along with some other ingredients. I think a lot of beginners neglect making an herb farm because they think it's a lot of work. But actually, it takes no time at all and is extremely low maintenance. All you need to do is dig downwards a tiny bit until you find clay, smelt that into clay pots at a furnace, place those clay pots down, and you're pretty much done. Now you just plant whatever herb seeds you stumble across during exploration, and you pretty much have a sustainable supply of herbs for potion making, as long as you harvest them when they're in bloom. Fishing spots are a little more troublesome, I will have to admit, but some great potions like the Summoning Potion or the Endurance Potion require specific fish to craft. That said, if you do plan on playing the game long term, it's always great to just build one yourself so you can just pop by anytime and farm potion ingredients. Being a little more thorough here will reward you eventually when you hit a wall or die to a boss over and over again. Instead of then stressing out and scrambling to look for more potions, it's always good to have the infrastructure in place so you can easily craft spares and challenge the boss again. So if you can, do consider making the investment here. Number 9. Making NPC prisons. The next big beginner mistake is to make a huge NPC apartment in the same biome to house all the NPCs you get. Some beginners also watch some old videos and try to make NPC prisons. That was the convenient way of doing it in the past, but unfortunately, since Terraria 1.4, NPC prisons are now counterproductive. NPCs now have a happiness level, and they also have a preferred biome and preferred neighbors. If they're happy, they will actually offer you cheaper prices in their shops, and conversely, higher prices if they're unhappy, so you really can't just throw them all in one spot anymore. If you take the effort to build some small settlements in multiple biomes and sort your NPCs accordingly, not only does that let you buy things for cheaper, but it also gives you access to pylons, which brings me to my final and last point. Number 10. Not using pylons. The Terraria world isn't that big, nor is it infinite. But you have to admit that having to run all the way to the jungle again after you die for the 14th time does get a little bit tiring. Instead, why not just set up a jungle pylon? When NPCs are happy, they will sell you the pylon of the biome that they are currently living in, which you then can place down to use as a teleportation point. For example, if I have a forest pylon and a jungle pylon, I can immediately teleport to the jungle. Same with the snow pylon, ocean pylon, or cave pylon. So setting up a pylon network in strategic areas of the map is really amazing and really convenient, so make sure you utilize this new feature. All the more reason to keep your NPCs happy and have some urban planning, am I right? So that's about it for the top 10 mistakes I think newbie Terrarians tend to make. Did I miss any? If you think that there are some other big pitfalls that I haven't mentioned, let me know down in the comments. I sure hope that I've covered most of them though. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. This has been Zuzucorn. Have a nice day and have a great week ahead. Bye bye.